Welcome to the Iyun Podcast, an in-depth look at Chareidi society, Israel, and the Jewish people. I am your host, Ari Koretsky, and I invite you to join us as we confront the challenges, joys, and possibilities of Torah-centered living in an evolving world. The Iyun Podcast, Think Again. We are back with another wonderful episode and excited to welcome today Yitzik Crombie. Yitzik has a really interesting history. He's a Chabad Chassid, the second we've had on in just a couple of episodes. And in particular, he's become a real force for promoting integration and education within the Chareidi community and the workforce. Yitzik himself, a product of the high-tech scene, who came to that quite a bit later than most, succeeded in developing and selling a startup, ultimately creating an educational workforce training program to allow Chareidim to acquire basic skills and then enjoy an advanced education in various technical areas to enhance their workplace prospects. Yitzik is a real ambassador, a bridge builder, and an author of a book that we will speak about as well, called When the Chareidim Will Be the Majority. So now to our conversation with entrepreneur and pioneering educational advocate, Yitzik Crombie. We are here with Yitzik Crombie, the founder of Mego, as well as Bizmax, and author of a book that we'll discuss as well about the future of Chareidim in Israeli society. Really a person who I think is at the nexus of everything we're discussing here on this podcast. So very excited. How are you, Yitzik?
I'm great, thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Where do we have the privilege of speaking to you from? Where are you living in Israel?
I live in Kfar Chabad. It's for who don't know, it's right next to Tel Aviv, next to the airport. It's a small village, all Chabad, a very interesting place, and very lovely place.
Now, it's interesting. I just the other week, maybe our second 2 episodes ago, something like that, we had on a very prominent Chabad Shaliach, Rabbi David Eliezeri. I'm not sure if you know that name, from
I know the name.
California. And he spoke a lot about, he wrote a biography of the Frierdiker Rebbe that just came out. And very, very interesting person. Talked about Chabad and Zionism. And in that conversation, we discussed Kfar Chabad and how the Rebbe specifically wanted Kfar Chabad to be near Tel Aviv so that it could have an impact on the broader culture and not just to be away in Meron or somewhere kind of out on the periphery.
So let me tell you something about that. First of all, you talked about my book, my last one. I almost finished the next one, and the next one it's a biography about the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the Frierdiker Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Itzkik Schneerson. He founded the Kfar Chabad, and spoke about this in the last episode with Rabbi Eliezer. I saw the book and I said, okay, I think when I started to write the book about the Frierdiker Rebbe, Rabbi Yosef Itzkik Schneerson, I said there's no biography about him. There's Chabad biography, but not for the public
Yeah.
sector. So for the last 2 years, I spent so much time toward the biography, and then I saw he already published one. But anyway, I'm going to publish mine in the next few months, and yeah, and my name is Itzik, but it's Yosef Yitzchak, on the name of Rabbi Yosef Yitzchak Schneerson, the Lubavitcher Rebbe.
Fascinating. Okay, we've got the only two biographers of the Frierdiker Rebbe on this podcast within a couple of weeks of each other. That's pretty crazy. I don't know what the message is for me, but it's definitely interesting.
No, I think we'll talk about this in a different point of view. But I think what's interesting in the Lubavitcher Rebbe, the last Lubavitcher Rebbe, it's he was born in 1880 in Russia. At the time, like 95% of the Jewish population was, keeping somehow traditional Jewish life. Uh, Used to be in the villages in Europe, mostly in Europe, and Sini was born 10 till the day he was passed away in New York in 1950. At the time he was passing away in 1950 in New York, 95% of the Jewish population wasn't part of the, you know,
Observant.
traditional
Yeah.
Jewish. I'm not talking just about observing. I'm talking about, a lot of the people were murdered in the Holocaust. A lot of them went to Israel with the Zionism and everything, and very big group went to the immigrate to the U.S. and then changed the way of life. And the message when the Rebbe came to New York, he said, America is nicht
Nicht
Andrish.
Andrish, yeah.
America is not. It's all the same, like the old, the old world in Europe, and we need to keep the same traditional life, like in Europe. We need to do the same thing in New York, and I think very interesting story. When he came to New York, at the same day he came to New York, they made a very big Kabbalat Panim, big reception in one of the biggest hotel in Manhattan with the mayor and the NYPD, officer and everything. And then he announced that he's gonna establish Tomchit Mimim yeshiva in New York, and he said it's gonna be the same yeshiva like Tomchit Mimim in Lubavitch. We're gonna do the same thing in New York. And he wrote in his diary that on the same day he cried all night, and he said, why I cried all night? Because at the same night, after the event, he went to the hotel. And at the time he came to the hotel, two of the biggest, Chabad leaders at the same time came to the hotel and told him, Rebbe, we love you. We want to do everything for you. We will do everything for you with Mesiras Nefesh and everything. But it's not possible to establish yeshiva like in Europe, in New York. It's not. We are not the same. And he said, I was crying all night because if even two of my biggest Hasidim, they don't believe in me, so we have a challenge, and and now we see that it was right. He did it. It was one of the first, Chareidi yeshiva in the state, and have a very interesting life, with all the um, all the situation with the communism in Russia, and then in Warsaw, and then the World War I and World War II and everything. So, that's for the different
Different
episode.
episode, different episode.
After I will finish my book, it will be published. We will talk about this.
And
Not
then, so
yet.
Itzkik, where did you grow up? Did you grow up your whole life in Kfar Chabad? Is your family, your parents, were they native to Israel? What was your family story?
So, from my mother's side, I born and raised in Israel. I I born in Haifa, and then my parents moved to Kfar Chabad, and after a few years, the Rebbe told them to move to Tzfat. So I grew up in Tzfat. I lived in Kfar Chabad for 24, something like that, 24 years. My wife lives here, and her grandfather was one of the first, founders of Kfar Chabad. The Rebbe told the Rebbe Rayat sent him to. He came from Moscow, and then the Rebbe Rayat told him to come to Kfar Chabad, and he was a farmer with cows and everything, right where we live right now. And so I grew up in Tzfat, born in Haifa, raised in Tzfat, and so from my mother's side, I'm the 14 generations in Israel. So
Wow.
my mother, my grandfather, great grandfather, 14 generations here in Israel. They used to live in Hebron, and then they moved to Jerusalem, and then they moved to Tveria, whatever. And for my father's side, my father born and raised in London, and made Aliyah when he was young, and we are still here.
When did
Baruch
your
Hashem.
mother's side become Chabad?
My mother grew up, she wasn't Chabad. My grandfather wasn't Chabad. Um, there was Frum, some kind of Frumas. And Actually, she after they got married, they moved back to London, and then they used to live in Nottingham, whatever. And then they become Chabad. They came back to Chabad. My from my father's side, my grandfather was Chabad. That's very interesting to see the pictures. My father's grandfather, so my grandfather, was with a long beard, was a Chabad with a long white beard. We have the picture. His son was with short beard. Uh, my grandfather was without the beard. He was religious, some kind of religious, but was in London was without the beard. And then my father, again with a long white beard. I have the short beard. I, so my son still has a long beard. I don't think the beard that's everything, but you see the pictures and you realize the generation after generation, the change that become whatever. That's
Interesting.
interesting.
So okay, so you're at a kind of a mixed family in terms of the backgrounds. They weren't always Chabad, but it sounds like your mother's or your mother's side, no, your wife's side was really more the Chabad lineage, and your parents kind of got into it in England and then moved over eventually when they came back to Israel and stayed connected that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your background. Was it a classic Chabad upbringing? Did you spend the year in 770 in Tomchei Temimim? What was your own background and what was your own early interests?
Yeah, I grew up, as I said, I grew up in Tzfat. I was in a Cheder, Chabad, Talmud Torah, Cheder. And then I went to Yeshiva, Chabad Yeshiva, Yeshiva Ktane, 3 years, and then Yeshiva Gdela, 3 years, and then Kvutze in 770 in New York. I spent a year, and then I made Smicha. I was in Shlichus, I was in Shlichus in Italy, I was in Shlichus in Japan, I was in Shlichus in India, I was in Shlichus in few places when I was a Bocher. And and then I came back to Israel. I got married, Baruch Hashem, and um, and then I started to find. First of all, I went to a college for the first year, and then I said, "Okay, I need to do something. I need to, put the bread on the table. I need to work." And then I realized that without an formal education, I can't find appropriate job. And so that's why I went to the Technion to study information technology. I was working in several tech companies, established a startup, was acquired by a bigger company, was almost 10 years ago, 1916. And then after that, I said, I realized that I can be very, I believe, very helpful for to build the bridge between Chareidim to the workforce and to our education system and etc. And that's what I'm doing for the last almost 10 years.
Okay, amazing. We're gonna get into all that, but first, back to your earlier story. Why didn't you want to go on shlichus yourself? You had been in all these exotic places, but none of them, I guess, pulled at you to say, "Hey, let's do this for a career, so to speak, if you want to call it that."
First of all, because I don't think I have the courage to do that. It's very hard very hard job. To think
Very.
that to be a shliach somewhere and come back with a tie and to stand in front of 770 with the pictures of all the shluchim. That's very very nice. But daily basis is very hard to be a shliach. And actually, my wife wanted to be next to her mother, so
That's a different sort of
she's a single
shlichus.
child. Yeah, she's a single child, uh, and we live next to her parents. Baruch
Okay.
Hashem, in Kfar
Uh,
Chabad.
no more cows there, though, right?
No,
Very good. And so, okay, so what's
but
interesting?
I'll tell you, I'll tell you something. When my wife's grandfather, Zusik Rivkin, he was a farmer here in Israel, and after a few decades, he came back to the Rebbe. And first of all, he sent a letter to the Rebbe and he said, "It's very hard for me to keep do the same thing. I want to quit. I want to sell the cows and everything and the farm and do something. It's not for me anymore. It's very hard. It's not so profitable. Whatever." And the Rebbe didn't answer. And he sent another letter, and the Rebbe didn't answer. And then when he was by the Rebbe, he came to the Rebbe and said, "I sent you 2 letters. I want to live. I want to quit. That's it. You told me to come. The Rebbe Rats told me to come to Kfar Chabad and to establish the village and to, to buy some cars and make some milk and everything. But it's too hard for me. I'm not so young, and that's it. It's enough for me. And the Rebbe told them, your shlichus is when people are coming to Kfar Chabad and they see you with a long white beard. When you go in at the morning, you go into the mikveh and you learn to say this, and then you go into shul and you daven like Chareidi, and then you're walking and you made a break at the afternoon to study, to learn the Daf Gemara and everything, and they see you, and that's your shlichus. That people can see you and believe that even if you walk with the cows, even if you with all the you know the schmooze and everything around the cows, um, but you're still a Chassidish Sharid. You do the same, same way of life and same everything. That's your shlichus.
That's a powerful metaphor or analogy, even for what you, I think, have done yourself. So we'll get into that. And I want to understand, because often, of course, a person reaches a certain point, you're married, starting a family, you need to put bread on the table. So you want to find the job, but it's not very common, or certainly wasn't very common those years ago, to say, okay, well, the natural next step is to go to a technion. Many people would say, okay, the natural next step is to work in a farm store or start some kind of a business by myself. But to go into academia and very technical studies is unusual. How did you even have that conception to want to do that?
It's a question I'm asking myself. What came to my mind when I, made that decision was I don't know how, but for me it was very clear that if I want to be part of the workforce, so I need a formal education. So I need a formal education. I need to go to get an education. That's it. Um, it wasn't easy for me. I came without a background, no English, no math. Spoke Hebrew at home. So I was in 770 and, spent here in New York, but we all bunch of Chabad, Israelis, dips as they used to call us. And we just, everything was in Hebrew. Um, so was very, very hard for me. But actually I did it. And after I did it, I found out that it's not so unusual to do. It's for me it was maybe at the time was in all the academic system in Israel, all the colleges and universities was with the numbers 2 or 300 Chareidim in all the system, compared to 1900 right now. So we are very big change or movement since then for the almost 20 something years. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I have no.
How did you even
It's
get
not
in?
something that
I
I
mean,
can say.
how did you even get accepted? Because I mean, Technion is a very, very high level school, and you didn't have basic skills.
So that's a different story because I didn't. That's actually the right answer. I came without a bagrut, so I don't have the. You need to pass the test, and I told them I want to join in, and they said, okay, you need a bagrut. You don't have a bagrut, and at those time now we have a different special programs for Chareidim to close the gap and to get the bagrut, the certification like you get in the high school, but wasn't I didn't find any program for that like that, and so I told the Technion, let me join in, and I'm not going to be. It's called the student chofshi. So I'm not really part of the. I'm not really. I'm not a real student, but I can join the classes and have everything and get the test. But when you finish, you don't get the graduation
Diploma.
certificate diploma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't have the diploma not yet from the Technion. I finish everything. I have all the passed all the tests, and I have everything. I have all the documents that I passed all the tests and everything, but I don't have the diploma yet.
Wow. Have you tried
So
going
then
back
I
to them?
went. Yeah, a few years ago, I told them, let me finish it and I get a diploma, and I can pass all the tests and everything. It was almost 2 years of studies just to get the diploma. And after, I'm not part of the tech industry anymore, so I don't need a diploma for to be a programmer. I was a programmer for almost 10 years, more than 10 years, and so I have two different diplomas right now. Now, one in history and one in Jewish tradition, so Jewish studies. So from a different colleges.
Interesting. Okay, so you went to the Technion as a student. We call it auditing in America. This means you went to the without taking without actually passing the exam, or even if you took the exams, not for credit. This is not
Yeah,
for credit officially, but you learned all the skills. Obviously, what did you do
yeah,
with that? You said
and you pay the tuition,
you
full
paid
tuition.
tuition.
So yeah,
They give you they take your money. They just don't give you the paper.
yeah, exactly.
So, what did you do with that? It sounds like you made a startup. Is that what you did right away? And what was the startup?
No, it wasn't the first thing I did. I was working as a programmer for several companies, and then I ran some departments in a different company for information technology. And then after a few years, I established a startup with some partners. What we did, what we called a mobile guided selling solution. That means we help sales rep that sell B2B to know which customer they need to go to and which product they need to sell to the customer, and also what the upscale that they can offer to the customer. Um, was very very successful with a very good product and with a lot of customers. And after a few years, we raised a lot of money from investors, and then after a few years, the company was acquired by one of the biggest company in this field. Was very successful. I'm not. It's not. Wasn't like a big exit. Like, I'm not a rich person from the sale. Was enough for me, and it's very good that I can be, working in NGO with with all the. It's not a tech salary, um, but was enough for me, and and that's it. Yeah.
And this was
Um,
Mego.
no, the company was called the startup was iCell. iCell, that was the name of the startup. Um, and Mego, that's a program that was established almost 4 years ago. That's a special program to train Chareidim men, especially men, to the tech industry.
Ah,
So we
okay.
take, yeah, we'll talk about this. So
We'll get there in a minute. So,
there's
as
more.
I
Yeah.
just quickly first on the previous startup, were your partners all Charedim, or was it a mixture of people?
No, it wasn't Chareidim. Um, it was co-CEO, was me and secular girl from Tel Aviv. She was working with me in one of the companies. I knew her. She was very, you know, talent programmer, and we decided to establish the company together.
How did that work with such two different backgrounds in all ways?
It wasn't an issue at all. We was focused on, on the business side, not on the agenda. What's my beliefs? What's my how I'm acting, and what if I'm, Hasid or Litvik, I'm studying Musar or Chassidus. It wasn't the conversation at all. We was focus about the business, how to develop a good program, and how to do the marketing and sales, and how to raise money and everything. And that's what we did, and that's what was very, very successful.
But it must have been an interesting pair when you walk in to raise money in front of people, and here you have a Chabad Chassid and a Chiloni woman from Tel Aviv, and together they're selling the product or selling investors. It must have been an interesting image.
Yeah, it was very interesting. And I'll tell you the truth. I don't know, 50, I don't know, maybe sometimes 80% of the time when we was, meeting with investors, the conversation wasn't about the company. The conversation was about my background, and was very, I don't know, not very unique. We'll talk about this later. But to see a Haredi man in this area was very wasn't so was hard to see that.
Wasn't common.
No. And I'll tell you something that was very interesting. I think that was the time I made a decision to be part of this area and to start with working with Chareidi entrepreneurs and Chareidi startups. And that was the beginning of my activities. Um, I believe that I'm the only one. And then it was very hard for me to raise money. It was very hard for me to understand this area, and a lot of it, in Israel, all of the people, or a lot of the people, they know one each other from the army and from university. I wasn't in the army. I wasn't in university. I was in university, but not. I wasn't so socialized when I was in university, and and it was very hard for me. And I said, how come that I'm the only one? And then I found out that one of my neighbors, he also has a startup, and this guy, and then I found out that there is not a lot, but 20, 40 Chareidim that are already part of the tech industry. So I started to arrange meetings for all of us, with meeting with investors and some workshops and some, sometimes we all went to just to, hang out on in Bnei Brak to eat some chant and collaborate together. And then that was the beginning of my activities, and then I established a organization called Forum Hightech Chareidi, Chareidi Hightech Forum, and we started to do some activities in this area. And then that was at the same time I was already I was in the startup, and then when the company was acquired by Executech, whatever, um, I went to do the full-time job.
Amazing. So you already had this kind of informal or maybe
Involvement.
somewhat formal group. And then what was Mego and how was that different from this high tech forum?
Just before the ITEC Forum. The ITEC Forum was meetups and conferences for Haredi entrepreneurs. At the biggest event that we made for Haredi entrepreneurs was I don't know, 15 people came to the events. That was the biggest event. Uh, just 2 hours ago, I gave a lecture at the meetup for Haredi entrepreneurs in Tel Aviv in AWS Amazon office in Tel Aviv with I think three or almost 400 entrepreneurs, Haredi entrepreneurs.
Wow. So a big growth since then.
Yeah, yeah.
So what was the evolution? Take me through the process from the beginning of this effort to where it is now. How did you get from the 15 to almost 400?
No, first of all, the 400, it's not me. They came from, all over the places and came, did their own path. Um, I think for the last, at the beginning, we started to work with entrepreneurs. And then almost 4 years ago, we established Mego. Mego is a training program for Haredi men to the tech industry, but not just tech, like programmers, also electrician and machine engineering and things like that, professions. We take Charedim without any background. We start full 4 months of mechina pre-studies of English and math. And then after between 4 to 5 months, we start the tech training for almost a year. It's a full day, 9 to 5, 5 days a day, 5 days a week. Very very hard. We do very long and hard screening process. We take 1 of 10 from the people who want to join the program to the people who start the program, and it's fully subsidized. We give them scholarship. We give them stipends, 2,000 shekel a month. It's like a grant in a kollel for all the time. It's not a loan. It's not nothing. It's fully, grant just to get the profession. And for the last 4 years, we have almost 750 students. Yes, few days ago on Sunday, we just opened the sixth cohort with 241 students. All over we have places, we have colleges that we work with them in Jerusalem, in Bnei Brak, in Haifa, in Ashdod, in Bet Shemesh, in all over the places. It's all the budget come from donations and from the government. It's a joint venture between the Kemach Foundation. We talk about the Kemach Foundation to the government, and that's the biggest program in this area. But there is for the last few years there is not a lot, but there is few more programs that do the same, do in different ways, but to train Chareidim to the tech industry. Um, so we still have a lot of work to do, but we're in a good way.
So that means if you had over 200, let's say almost 250 people joining this new program, new cohort, that means almost 2,500 applied,
Yeah, something like that. More than that.
and you have a team interviewing them. And
Yeah, we start with the exam, with the test, and then we have the guy who ran all the screening program for Mego is the guy who was in charge of all the screening program for the army. So he made the screening program for the army for to be a pilot, to work in the 8200, or to be everything. So we know how to do it, and we start with the test on the computer. It's not a test for knowledge. It's not for it's a special test for skills. We try to find the the opportunities and not the knowledge, because most of the people, they don't know nothing before they come
right, but the
to
potential,
the potential. Yeah.
incredible. And so you mentioned it's funded by Kemach Foundation. That's a private foundation, or that's a government venture.
No, Kemach Foundation, it's the organization that I'm part of, the Kemach Foundation right now for last few years. Kemach Foundation was founded 15 years ago. Kemach, it's Yemen Kemach and Torah, especially of course we know, but Kemach, it's the letters of Kidum Miktsoi Charedi. It's a non-profit organization, as I said, founded 15 years ago. All Chareidim integrate to the workforce. Was founded by Leon Noy from London, and Aaron Wolfson from the States, of course you know, and a few other people from the Chareidi community. We have a special scholarship fund for Chareidim to help them go to get a degree in the higher education system, in colleges and universities. For the last 10 years, we spent 300 million shekel scholarships for Chareidi students. We have a special training program like Mego and few other programs. We have not just for the tech industry. We have a lot of workshops and training programs for everything: graphic designers, accounting, construction, everything you want, and everything you think of, every profession that you can think about. And we have placement center. We have 9 placement centers all around the country, from Tzfat to Jerusalem and Bet Shemesh, Bitar Elit, and Modin Elit, and all the Haredi cities that we help Haredim with the placements, guiding and placements and workshops, and everything, how to write your resume and CVs and everything. And also we have a very big innovation center in Jerusalem. It's called Bizmax. We have a co-working space like WeWork, and also we have a lot of activities like mentorship and classes and workshops and business community and business school and accelerator for startups and some other programs. We now um, have more than 100 people working in the organization. Um, the funding comes from donations and from the government, like 55% from the government and the rest from donations. We spend budget of 70 million shekel a year.
Oh my.
70, yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's about what, 20 million dollars approximately,
25, yeah,
$25 million.
yeah,
And you're saying about 15 million or 13 million coming from the government,
from the government, and the
and
rest
you have
from
to
the
raise about
nations.
$12 million a year.
Yeah, yeah.
And is
That's
that
what I'm
your main
doing.
responsibility or other people involved as well?
No, we have a team. I'm in. I'm doing it together with the team. Yeah, that working with.
Incredible. And now, when
Yeah.
you do the educational program you're doing is combined with colleges, right? So you're not creating the education yourself. You're connecting Charedim to existing colleges, and that's where they take the courses.
Yes, but yeah, we are not the college. We're working with the colleges. It can be, colleges like and universities, and it can be vocational training or practical engineering or things like that. It's not just a academic degree. But yeah, we working with them. We do the marketing, we do the screening. We bring a group of Chareidim, just close group of Chareidim men, with all the terms that we are doing with the college, that it can be separate and everything. And also we give the like a cover on the studies to work with them um, on specific skills that they need to get before they go into to the workforce. For example, um, um, time management. For example, how to write your Zoom, LinkedIn, how to present yourself, um, problem solving, self learning, and a lot of things that it can be if you're coming from yeshiva, you have a lot of skills, and it's very unique skills that you're coming with. But when you're going to work to be part of the workforce, you need some specific skills that not all the time you get these skills in yeshiva. For example, timeline and time management, especially in Israel, I don't know, in the States, it's not something, very hard with in some of yeshivas, okay? I'll be careful when I'm trying to say. Um, so it's something that we are working with them. We have coaches, when we have guiders, when we have a lot of activities that we do with them, and also at least once a month we do like full day for all the students together, like they feel like they're a big group. We give a lot of knowledge and activities and training for all of them together. And even if some of them are studying, tech development, and some of them are studies electricity or or things like that, but all engineering, but they all together because some of the skills, the soft skills, something relevant for all of them. AI, and etc.
Amazing. I want to talk a little bit about the book that you wrote, I believe about 3 years ago. And the title in Hebrew is Charedim Yurov, when the Charedim, the ultra Orthodox, will be the majority, the Rov. And that is, a demographic reality which is not as far off as some might imagine. To many people, that is an exciting prospect. To many others in Israeli society, that is a terrifying prospect. And I want to hear about how this book came about, what you covered, what the challenges are that you discussed, what the solutions are that you advanced. Take me to the development of this book.
So all the book in 5 minutes. Okay, I'll try.
I'll even give you six. It's okay.
So let's start with the numbers. Okay. So the Haredi community in Israel, we are 12% of the population. It's 1.3 million citizens. 57% of the Haredim are at the age of under 18. So a very, very young community, very fast growing, 4% in a year. So that's the fastest growing demographic for any group in the Western world. So that's very amazing. 6.2 children for every woman, every family, um, even in the Haredi community. So that's something very good. But let's talk about the challenges of the Haredi community. So first of all, we need to understand that most of the Haredi boys in the elementary school, in the Cheder, Talmud Torah, are not studying STEM at all. No English, no math, no nothing. Okay, just Torah, the regular studies, and then of course I'm not. It's not just everyone knows that, but most of the Chareidim are not going to the army, and it's a challenge. It's a big challenge for the Israeli security, economy, and society. And just 5% of the students in the higher education system, in the academic system in Israel, are Charedim. But let's talk about the workforce. We see the challenge in the workforce. In the workforce, 54% only 54% of the Haredi men, I'm talking about the men, are part of the workforce. And that's one challenge. The other challenge, because a lot of the Haredim are part of the studying in Kollel. Okay, so we can say, okay, 55%, 54% are working, and the rest are studying in the Kollel. That's fine. That's okay. The average salary for Haredi men are almost 50% compared to average salary for non-Haredi Jewish. I'm not comparing to the Arabs because they have their own challenge. We are talking about, the Jewish population in Israel, 50%. So that's a challenge not just for the individual, because he's, wake up in the morning, they're going to work, coming back, fine, but they get a salary of 50% of the average salary in Israel.
But is that because of the type of work they're doing or because of discrimination?
No, that's because the type of work they're doing, and that's a result of the education that they have. Okay, so we have no doctors, we have no engineers, we have no scientists, we have no a lot of professions that also we need in Israel. And the impact, I want to talk about the impact about the group, the macro, about because of this situation, not just for the individual. So first of all, the community, the economy of the States of Israel, the growth of the economy of the States of Israel can't keep going the same way without the Charedim in the workforce, because we are going bigger and bigger, and the impact on the economy are not just a minority. We're not a small group, and you can say, okay, they have their own way of life. They are not working. They earn 50% of the average salary. That's enough. We're going to be the majority. We're going to be, at least in 20 years from now, the Haredi, community part of the workforce going to be 25%. 25% of the people at the age of the workforce, that's 25 to 64, going to be Haredim. And such a big group that only 54% of them are part of the workforce. And the average salary is, it's 50% than the average salary, the regular average salary, and we don't have people, as I said, in the profitable professions. So it's a big challenge for the Israeli economy. The Bank of Israel said that if we will be in 10 years from now, if we will be in the same numbers, they will need to raise taxes by 16%. 16%. So that's a big challenge for the Israeli economy. All the economies, one of the biggest economies here in Israel, Professor Tzvika Eckstein, he said, the Israeli economy have four challenges. Four challenges for the Israeli economy for the next years. The first one is Chareidi employment for men. The second one, it's Chareidi employment for men. The third one, it's Chareidi employment for men. And the fourth one, it's Chareidi employment for men. So that's a challenge. But also, okay, so that's a challenge for the economy. I think, and what's the problem? The problem is when you go to the to the secular, to the Tilumi, whatever, the non-Haredi, Jews in Israel, and he said, okay, that's a challenge. So let's take all the Chareidim and cut all the expenses for the taxes and the subsidies from the government and send them to work. They're not going to be Chareidim. They will be Chareidim. I don't care. They need to be part of the work. They need to pay taxes like everyone. And when you go to Chareidi men, and he said, if you as a community, if you're not going to be part of the workforce, you're going to be very poor. The GDP of Israel is going to be like Bangladesh. And he said, no, Sean, I'm going to be poor. I'm poor anyway. What do you want from me? So I think that's a challenge. But I think that the missing point, it's the unemployment rate of the Chareidi community. It's a challenge for the Chareidi community, not for the Israeli economy. It's a challenge for the Chareidi community and for Olam Torah, because they think if you're not, if the 50%, Issachar Zvulun, Issachar can't be if you don't have the Zvulun. You can't say, okay, we are Issachar Zvulun, but they will be the Zvulun. We will be going to be the Issachar. We're going to stay in the Koilel. And I don't know what's going to be. It's not working. We are big community. We have the responsibility for the economy, for the state of Israel, for the sustainability of the state of Israel. But we have the responsibility. We need to be responsible for our community. And I think that's something that a lot of the people are I don't think like that. Without the taxes that the Chareidi community will pay, the government don't have money to pay for the koilelim and for the yeshiva. And when I published the book 3 years ago, almost 3 years ago, some of the people said, no one's going to cut the budgets for the yeshivot. Now we see they cut the budgets for the yeshivot. So you can say, no, they cut the budget for the yeshivot because they ate the Chareidim or whatever, or because of the army. No, it's not just the reason. It's the reason because the people in the Ministry of Finance, I know them very well, they believe that if that we can pay for the yeshivot if the Chareidim are not paying taxes. So all of the Chareidim, as I said, they get very 50% average salary. So now you can calculate the taxes that they are paying with a lot of children. So you get 10,000 shekel a month, and you have 6 children. So you're not paying taxes. You just get money from the government. So it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable. But also, let's see what's going on right now. All the Rashi Yeshivot, Keren Olam Torah, and etc., they are going to the States to raise money. Why can they raise money in Israel? Because we have no money in the Haredi community in Israel. We have some people with some rich people, but they can raise the money in Israel. They need to go to the state to raise the money. So okay, they can go to the state to raise the money. Thank God, Baruch Hashem. A lot of people give big checks for the Keren Olam Torah, for the yeshivot. That's fine, but it's not scalable and it's not sustainable for years, and we are getting bigger and bigger. So we need to find a way that all the people who are already going, they left the koilel for their own reason. They asked the rabbi. Everyone do his own decision. You left the koilel. You want to go to work. I want you to be to get appropriate salary, not to work as a schlep. And for that, you need an education. So that's in 6 minutes or more. I think the main challenge that we have in the Chareidi community regarding to education and formal education and employment.
So is the book really strictly about work and education, or is it also about other challenges in the community like army and so forth?
No, I'll tell you. I published the book because I have a lot of conversations with a lot of people here in Israel, and I give lectures and everything, and I'm meeting with policymakers in the government and whatever. And most of them, they don't understand what's going on in the Chareidi community. They don't know what's the difference between yeshiva to yeshiva bacher to avrech. They don't understand. So that's something. So that's why I published the book. I start the book, and also I think a lot of people trying to find solution for the Chareidi community, but they don't understand the solution. So that's why they give wrong solution for the challenge. I start the book with the history of the Chareidi community. I started the book with the establishment of the Jewish nation. Moshe Rabbeinu, when Moshe Rabbeinu came out from Egypt and told bunch of slaves, "Let's go. We are going to the desert. We are going to get the Torah. God are waiting for us in our Sinai and everything." We said, חמושים יצאו בני ישראל מארץ מצרים. חמושים, Rashi said, and the Medrash said, 20%, 80% of the nation, of the people, not the Erev Rav that came and fight with them. Most of the people told Moshe Rabbeinu, goodbye, tot gesundheit, we stay here. And that's why Midrash said, שלא שינו שמם לשונם ולבושם. Who was the zchus of going after Moshe Rabbeinu to Matan Torah and to Eretz Yisrael and everything? That was the group of people who didn't change the dress and the names and the language. They was separate from the Egypt. And then Beit Rishon, Beis Hamikdash Rishon, and Beit Sheni, and all over the Jewish history, we see that the group that was separate from the surrounded societies was kept the Jewish, traditional life, Kiyum Torah mitzvot and everything, and the rest was, integrate into the other nations, was disappeared from the, Jewish life. So that's why after, not after, 200 or 300 years ago in Europe, when the Askal and modernism and all those movements, seculars and everything, started to be very popular, the rabbi said, we're going to separate the communities and we're going to close the barriers around the community and we're going to stay with the same dresses and same language and same everything. I said, שלא שינו שמם ולשונם. They had a Streimel, the name was Yankel, and it was eating Kugel. That's I'm comparing to what we can see right now. And people are in Israel, they don't understand why Ger Chosid in Arad, in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the summer, are dressed with the hat of, Polish king from the winter. And that's why, because we said we are not changing everything. We will go and stay the same, with the same dresses and everything like we was in Europe. And that's why, because all the time that someone came and said, you try to change the atmosphere in the community, it wasn't success for the community, because people went to universities and a scholar, and people went to the States, as we said before, and was integrated in the society, and they are not part of the communities. As I said, my grandfather was with a long beard, and then after generation they may have moved to England and that. So that's why we're trying to keep the tradition way of life, and don't and without the integration with the communities around. But we are trying to say, and what I'm trying to say, that we're not trying to change the way of life. I don't think there is a conflict between traditional way of life to spiritual way of life. There's no conflict between them. You can be 100% Chareidi and 100% engineer. It's not the same path. It's not the same thing. It's not that I'll be an engineer, so I'll be 50% Chareidi and 50% engineer. No, it's not the same. It's not the same method. I mean, you can be um, you can be both, and that's what we are trying to do. So my book, I started with like the history of the Jewish uh, the Chareidi community, and then I try to explain the Chareidi life in education, in the army, in economy, in the education system, and show the challenges, but also the opportunities that we have. Because I think we talked about a lot about challenges and the uh, economic challenges, but I think we have a lot of opportunities in the Haredi community. If the Haredi community will be part of the growth of the Haredi of the Jewish states, so the Jewish state will be a Jewish state like Kadosh Baruch Hu wants us to have a state. I'm not talking about Zionism and everything. I'm talking about Jewish life. I'm talking about Jewish life. I think we can, um, you know, I said I'm Chabad, so for me it's very easy to say. I think all I told today. I told in the meetup that I was in Amazon that we spoke about before. I told them each one of you are shliach. You are working in a tech company. You're working in Microsoft. You're working in Amazon. You're working in any tech company. You're a shliach in the company. You will be the role model for the not just for the Charedim that they can do both, but also for the secular and for the Dati Leumi and everyone that they will see you as a Charedi. You will be the best employer. You will be the very profitable employer for the company, and they will see that you can be like the Rebbe told my wife's grandfather. They will see you that you can be 100% Haredi. You it's kosher me'adrin, and you learn daf yomi, and you go in for mincha and for ma'ariv and everything. But you're a good employer. You're a good programmer. You're a good developer, and that's your shlichus.
How do you think that you being Chabad has influenced the way that you approach these challenges? Because Chabad in general is known for being much more open and more integrated with the world and seeing themselves as, influencing the world. Do others, when you come to somebody in Panovich or Tifrach, and you say, or in Ger or in Bells, with these solutions, they say, it's a Chabadnik. It's a different flavor. It's a different mentality, a different attitude. How are your solutions being received in the non-Chabad Haredi world?
Um, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I'm trying to First of all, I'm Chabad, and as I said, that's my beliefs, and that's what the Rebbe teaches, and that's what I'm trying to do. And but the Kemach Foundation wasn't founded by Chabad, and my partners at the organization, one of them are Litvek, and one of them are Chosid, Slonimer Chosid, and we have seculars. We have a lot, big teams, as I said, but it's not a Chabad. Uh, about movement or something like that. I think not all, I'm not trying to tell Gary Chassid, to be Chabad, you need to believe in the Chabad way. You have your own Rebbe, ask your Rebbe what to do. I'm not trying you know, to change your, you know, Chareidi identity, whatever. I'm trying to give you the opportunity. What we are trying to do in the Kemach Foundation, we are trying to give opportunities for the people to do it in the way they believe. We always said we are like a gmach, okay? We're not going in the street and say, you need the loan, you need the loan, you need the loan. It's not what we're trying to do. What we are trying to do, okay, you need something, you need our service, okay, we are here for you. We'll give you the opportunity, but we will do it to ensure that you do it and you start as a Haredi and you finish as a Haredi. Not finish, start training or whatever. So that's why we have a lot of conversations with the government and with the Committee of Higher Education and with the Ministry of Labor and with the Supreme Court. A lot of things we have there about the separation between men and women in the classes, because some of the people here in Israel, they don't like it that we do it we do the separation between men and a woman, even if it's private programs. Okay, against women, whatever, this and that. So it's sometimes very hard for us. But we said we are not. We had one program that was for men and for women together with the government, and was group of men and group of women, two different groups, of course. And then after 2 years of agreements and fight at the Supreme Court here in Israel, they said you need to do it in one group. And that's what the government said. That was the decision. They said, okay, we are not going to do it like that. You want to do it by your own? You can do whatever you want, but we're not going to be part of it. We are not going to do it. Okay. And if some Chareidim want to go to a program that combine men and a woman, good for them. You should ask your rabbi. I don't care. We are not mashgiach kashrus of the Chareidim in the universities. We are given opportunities just if it will be separate, and we are going to the rabbis, we are going to Admorim and Rabbi and Rosh Yeshivot all the times and ask them what to do, and especially asking them what not to do. And Baruch Hashem, they no one when I can't say that 100% of the people who went through Kemach are still at the same at the same meaning at the morning. Okay, no, but I don't know, 98% of them are still the same. And just to give you the numbers, just in the academic education scholarship fund, as I said, we spend more than 300 million shekel. It's like $80 million for 10 years. It's a lot of money. And we had 36,000 graduates, already men and women. But every year we are working with 25,000 Charedim men and women every year. So not all of them are coming, all the circle of education, academic education or training. Some of them we have a placement center, so we just help them write a resume and they found a job. We have exhibitions, we have conferences, we have a lot of activities. In all activities together, we have 25,000 people. It's a lot of people. 75% men and the rest are women. And we still have a lot of work to do.
When you describe the issues with the government and the Supreme Court and those kinds of things, I think that kind of reaction from the government is exactly what creates a lack of trust among the Chareidim, who say, look, you want to take us to the army, you want to bring us even to Chashmonaim, but at the end of the day, you're not going to keep your promises. You're going to force an agenda on us. And how can we trust you? Is that what you've encountered with the government? Like, how is your experience working with the government and your 55% budget coming from the government? How has that experience made you feel about the government's approach and to the Chareidim, and whether they're acting in good faith to create real solutions on the Chareidim's terms that will work, culturally and religiously and socially?
So first of all, most of the fights that we have, it's not a fight, agreements, disagreements. It's not with the government, but also, for example, for the women lobby in Israel, that they went against us and the government at the Supreme Court. So the government are on our side. We have a joint venture with the government, and the women lobby, whatever who they represent, but that's how they call, came against us at the Supreme Court, against us and against the government. So the governments, most of the time, the government are on our side. So we are together with the government. And that's one. Some of I can't say that all the people in the government want to do the same, want to do the same thing. But I don't think, I'll be honest with you, I don't think I know the people in the government. I'm not talking about the ministers. I'm talking about the professional managers, all
Bureaucrats.
the bureaucrats. Yeah, whatever. I'm trying to say something. Managers, whatever. Um, they Most of them they don't want to change. They don't want to change the Haredi community. They really care about the integration of the Haredim into the workforce and also into the army. The army made a lot of mistakes regarding to the integration of Haredim into the workforce and into the army. That's a different topic. We can talk about this, um, but I don't think they want to change the community. I think there is people who want to change the community, and there is some bureaucrats or whatever that put a lot of barriers against Charedim. For example, I give you one very it's very famous in Israel disagreement about the separation in the academic system. Um, I am a member of the Committee of Higher Education here in Israel. So I'm part of the group who made the decision. So I'm stay in the rooms for and I can say we because I'm part of it, even it's not disagree. But anyway, we give a permission for the colleges and universities to teach in sub classes with separation between men and women just for the first degree, not for the second degree. And they don't allow to teach in second degree in different classes. And a lot of Charedim said, why you do it? Because we want us to go to first degree in separation and it's fit for Charedim and everything. And after, when I'm already part of the system, you want me to be in a combination between men and women and everything. And they right. And I fight for that. And I'm not the only the one who made the decision. If it was my decision, it was a different decision. But I don't think it's just because they want to change the Haredim. I think the main reason they afraid that when the Haredim will be the majority and the Haredim will be bigger and bigger, the Haredim will try to change their way of life. That's what they are afraid. When they see Chabad Shliach in the middle of Dizengoff Center, standing in the street and said, if ask the people if they want to put on tefillin and in the middle of the street or things like that, they are afraid that the Haredim are coming and the Haredim will change their way of life and they will force us to eat just kosher and they force us to, the public transportation on the Shabbos. And there is a lot of issues around this. It's not just because they want to. Some of them really want to change the Charedim. I don't say it's not an issue, but I don't think that's the majority. The majority of the people that don't want to change the Charedim, some of them are very afraid of what's going to be and how the Israeli society will look like when the Charedim will be the majority.
Just in closing, it's because we're going a long time here. There's so much to talk about. Just you said you go to Rabbanim, whether it's Litvish Rosh Hashivas or Hasidic
All of them,
Rebbes, etc.
all of them.
What's the response you get privately? Of course, there's always the discussion of what's in public and what's in private and etc. What's the general ruach hadvarim? What's the general sense, the attitude, the flavor that you get when you're going to these leaders? And in general, what kind of response are you getting? Are you getting a lot of pushback, whether from leadership or other communal leaders?
So I think the main rule that we got from Rav Steinman, more than 10 years ago, and he said, "We are never going to talk to you about the klal. We're just going to and you're not going to talk about the klal, and you're not going to try to give." And he said also by himself, "I'm not going to give permissions or whatever to the klal. I'm just want to talk about the prat." And it's very individual because every individual has his own path and it depends on the age. You're married or single. You're Fumer, you're Fayak. There is a lot of issues. We are trying to say in all our publishers, or advertising and everything, we said, השירות ניתן למי שקיבל היתר מרבותיו. We are giving the service just for the people who get the permission from the rabbi, for his own rabbi. And people are asking, you have a permission, you have a kosher, whatever for the classes. And no, go to your own rabbi and ask him. Go to your shiva, to your rabbi, and ask him. And he will tell you what to do. We are not going to tell you what to do. That's a product. We can give you the product. You want to come to the class? Fine. You want to get a scholarship for the education? Fine. You want to go to university? Fine. We'll give you everything. But the permission you will get from your rabbi. We are not going to give you the permission. So we are working with the rabbis, Sfardik and Chassidik and everyone, Litvish, and Baruch Hashem, it's a very hard thing to do. I would say that I'm in the foundation. I'm the right wing of modernism or whatever, that I'm trying to do think more because I'm Chabad, and the other people in the organization trying to do more conservative about the solution that we provide. But it's fine, and that's what we are doing.
But isn't the issue that if everything is always individual and there's never a solution giving on the communal level, how do you really have major change? Because every individual needs to go, then people don't appreciate that if there's not social permission to do some of these things, then even if an
No,
individual goes and asks,
some of the
they're going to
communities,
feel embarrassed. They're going to feel ashamed. Like, how do you create a social change?
it's very hard, and some of the communities have permission for the community. For example, Belz. The Belzerov told all his Sidim that they should go to study, and they should go to Kemach, and they should go to Mego and all other programs. And it's not just that he's saying that for the individuals, for the community, that they can go. I can send you after that. I'll send you some pictures of me standing before of hundreds of Belzer Chassidim in conferences of the community, with not with the Rav, but his son and all the rabbis, and they inviting me to give lectures about the opportunities that have for people who want to go to work and for study. So that example for a community that give permission for the community. And they said not to go to this, not to go to this, not to go to university, but just to go to college, not to go to the army for combat union, but go to the army to special Chareidi tech unions. So things like that. Okay, so it's depends on the community and depends on the on the situation. Yeah.
You wrote this book that when the Chareidim will be the majority. I don't know what year that will be, but what do you predict? I mean, nobody's a prophet, but are you hopeful? Do you feel like change is happening quickly enough? Are there major new initiatives that need to take place that are not yet happening? That you see that this is the next frontier, the next opportunity that needs to be opened for this large and quickly growing community. Where do you see all of this going?
No, there is everything we do. It's a small change. With all the big numbers and big budget and everything I told you, it's not. We're not trying to. We're not. We are trying. We're not changing the atmosphere enough fast enough. And if we will keep the same way, it's not going to be good for the Charedim and for the economy and for the society and for the security of Israel. and we need to do it much faster and much harder. And the barrier, it's not just the community or the solutions or the government. I think there is some issues. For example, the draft law for the last 2 years that the Chareidi politicians and the government can't find a solution. And in the meantime, the Chareidim at every age until you are 28, you're not allowed to go to work or to study. Okay, that's for example. So that's something that it doesn't matter what we will do unless they will find a solution for the draft law. We're stuck in the same position. Um, so I think we need to do a lot. I'm not talking about political issue. I'm not working with political issue. I'm talking about the situation. Yeah, we need to do it harder. We need to do a lot more, much more. We need to give more scholarships for Charedim to go to universities or to colleges. We need to train more people for the tech industry. We need to do more placements. We need to work with the students in the university to give them um, community for the Haredi students to help them stay Haredi even when they are in the community in the universities. We have a lot of things we are trying to do. We're going to establish in the next months, Bezat Hashem. I'm not sure it will be next month or in 2 months, a special program, big program with the Ministry of Health for Haredi doctors to train Haredi doctors together with universities, to give them, all the package that they need. So we have a lot of things that we are trying to do. We need to do more, and Bezat Hashem we ונעשה ונצליח.
It's a Crombie working very hard to solve some of the thorniest issues and doing it in a way that preserves the identity and the purity of Chareidi lifestyle and a fidelity to Torah values in such a beautiful way. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.